Tfcon must be stopped, no matter the cost.
Hello, everybody. This is Aaron from the Autopod Decepticast with a dollop of a bonus episode. You got Mike Seibert, you got me, and we're here to serve up some spicy hot chai, and we're going to deliver it to you with your name spelled terribly on the cardboard-sleeved cup of life. And we kick things off with a discussion of the G1 Movie Madness panel that Autopod Decepticast put out at Tfcon DC 2019 and was rebroadcast for this weekend's Tfcon 2020 online experience. Then there's a special preview of Autopod Decepticast number 139, which featured Mike Seibert and also Alex Jones, strangely enough. The team covers the unfortunate mental breakdown of Red Alert in the episode Auto Berserk. But the bulk of the episode was the searing, hot, spilled McDonald's coffee. It's just blistering up on my wrist in the form of our third-party panel coverage. What are we looking forward to? What's total garbage? What are the politics of who did and who did not present at the show? Well, listen now, and if you'd like to see a visual representation of the discussion, including slides from the TFCon third-party panel, there's some links at autopoddecepticast.com that you can click right through to Mike Seibert's Facebook live stream. Thanks a lot, everybody. Enjoy the show.
Oh, and just like that, and we're live. Hey, welcome back to the live stream of the Mike Seibert Radio Podcast, powered by Poddex. I am your host, and joining me for this live hot take adventure through unlicensed transforming robots, it's my dude Aaron from Autopod Decepticast. How you doing, buddy?
Great. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Mike Seibert Show featuring Aaron.
You know, we just did like a whole half hour of pre-show grab ass, so
and that's the best I got.
Wouldn't be in those kind of. No, it's awesome, and so we're doing something kind of special for you here, something a little different. We're kind of doing like a shared distribution type of thing, you know, kind of like when you watch that first Iron Man movie and you see like the giant Marvel Studios thing comes up. But then you see like the familiar Paramount logo. I'm getting way deep into the weeds, but basically what we're doing is this will be the live stream of the Mike Seibert Radio Podcast, but the podcasting rights go to my friends at Autopod Decepticast. So if you missed this video for whatever reason, which now sounds silly because we're on the video, but anyway, you'll be able to listen on the Autopod Decepticast feed, dropping sometime in the future. And this is like a sequel of sorts to something we did last March when TFCon Orlando canceled. Basically, they had, and that feels like a lifetime ago.
I know. I can't. Yeah, when you brought that up, I was like, that wasn't 2 years ago.
Yeah, no, that was March 22nd, and basically, TFCon Orlando was one of the first casualties of the COVID pandemic shutdowns, and from what I understand, they had the third party panel material ready. Mm-hmm. So instead of scrapping it, they decided to premiere it as a live stream video. They put it out on Facebook. They've put it out on YouTube. And out of nowhere, just kind of like impulsively, you know, Aaron and I connected and did a kind of like hot take reaction panel. So with that being said, now that TFCon Online is a thing this weekend, mm-hmm. We thought we'd keep that tradition going and do kind of like a scorching hot take reaction video. I mean, like the coals haven't even chilled yet. I mean, like
right.
As of when we started this live stream, the third party panel finished maybe 25 minutes ago. So
I
this
walked
is like
those
scorching
coals,
hot.
Tony Robbins style. I walked over the pit and I made it. Everything's fine. Mild burns, everything. But we're going to talk about the experience and how I'm a better person, and I can help all of you to be better people because of it.
Love that. I love the amount of self-help material that you consume and how it just makes its way into the shows that we do together. It's usually very subtle and very gentle. But
I've actually never consumed any Tony Robbins material, for the record, though I do know people that have paid thousands of dollars to go to a Tony Robbins thing. So I've heard about the shenanigans at a Robbins Aluza.
Got it. There it is. So cultural osmosis, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
So in just a little bit, I'm actually going to toss it over to Aaron. He's going to take the reins of hosting and kind of take us through the third-party panel that, as I said, just played out on the Tfcon YouTube channel as part of the inaugural Tfcon online this weekend. But before we get there, I would be remiss if we didn't talk about kind of this day in APDC history, because we're recording on Sunday the 25th, again the second day of TFCon online, but it's an exciting day for the Autopod Decepticast, and I thought before we got too deep into this third party stuff, Aaron, I was wondering if you could talk about what happened earlier today. And actually, I just looked at my Twitter feed. It looks like the new episode has just dropped. So we'll have to talk about that a little bit as well. We're doing a little bit of being like in multiple places.
We're doing lots of crossover activity.
It is.
Today.
I mean, like I was posting about all morning. It's like, I hope you're a fan of me because there is a lot of me today. It's like, I've got this, and then later on this evening I'm going to be on with the transmissions guys, and it's a lot of Mike. but anyway, yeah. So before we get too far, let's talk about the Sunday experience for APDC.
Okay, yeah, and same thing. It's going to be a lot of us as well, with me on this program. Earlier today, they did a broadcast of the panel from last year at DC, and I'll go into that more in a minute. And then, yeah, the new episode's out, which we'll talk about because you are in the new episode. But it was pretty cool. We knew that this thing was going to be online for a while. And I think really it was just yesterday that they started putting out, they being the organizers of TFCon, they started putting out agendas for what was going to be happening. And it looked as if there were open slots. And we didn't have time, obviously, to prepare anything new or completely original for it. But I'm sitting there realizing we have this content that is pretty good. I feel I'm proud of it. I'm not ashamed to say. And why not recycle that and throw it out there? So I sent a note over to Colin, and they were down and took it and put it up. And so, yeah, this morning, and I think it'll probably, I imagine, be permanently on the TFCon presence. It was on our YouTube page, and it'll be back up actually after today. But it's our panel from TFCon DC last year, and it was a lot of fun. It was our second time doing a TFCon panel, and I think we'd smoothed out some of the rough edges. We had a lot of new content, and that has a direct link to you as well, because our first TFCon presentation we did in Chicago, you were there and were helping us out with it quite a bit as well. Unfortunately, you weren't at the DC one, but it was just a good audio visual dynamo, baby. And we didn't have the visuals really down yet. We still hadn't figured out how we would capture and record the visuals for the Chicago one. Otherwise, we'd probably use that material as well. But we kind of pre-planned a little bit for that. I figured out how to edit video a little bit better. And that's why we have the presentation that lies before you. And so, yeah, check that out. I'm assuming it will stay, like I said, on the TFCon site presence on YouTube, but it's also available if you just YouTube Autopod Decepticast, you'll find it.
Yeah, I just checked a little bit ago. It's still there, as are all of the videos from TFCon online. Much of it was reheated material from previous TFCon shows, but some of it was new. Like there
Yeah.
was a really good Beast Wars panel and some other cool stuff there. But the I want to congratulate you guys on the response to the G1 Movie Madness panel that played on the Tfcon feed, because that's, I mean, they've got like what, 31,000 subscribers or something like that. So it's hitting a larger audience that folks like us haven't really cultivated as yet. So it really is kind of like the opportunity to get on the larger stage, about as large as if when you were doing it live to a packed room.
I've been following the con through the YouTube presence. So the fact that there is a Facebook presence, it was brand new to me. And when it was playing, and you should check the Facebook feed. There's other people having some fun with it over there. That was a delightful thing to discover. And I forget that there is this whole world of people that actually watch videos and do whatever their content thing is on Facebook. And I mean, Facebook drives a lot of revenue for big time content creators. I just never think of it as a platform because I stay about as far away from Facebook as you can without actually deleting my account. But for those who haven't seen that special or the Movie Madness TFCon special, it's a little bit different from what we do on the podcast, but it's inspired and in the vein of what we do in the podcast. It's a lot of original audio, visual, analytical content based on some of it's based on some of the discussions we had during the movie, and some of it was just new stuff we thought up, and we just kind of experimented to figure out. There's about 4 or 5 segments. I managed a couple of them. Ryan had a script deviation segment where he kind of compiled the greatest hits in his opinion of deviations between the Ron Friedman drafts and the Dilly drafts. Then Caleb wrote and hosted our trivia segments that we did, and he did a fantastic job. His dry humor was perfect for it. And that's one other thing I think we'd optimize for next year. It would be great to have one more person that was taping the audience segments, because from a video editing standpoint, I didn't want people just staring at my face, which is where the camera was while Ryan and Caleb are out in the audience. So it would be good to have that one extra camera that's actually following them and getting those people. I think that would complete it. But we have some ideas for the next TFCon. I think we're going to push it even further in terms of the segments and what we're going to do. More to come in the future on that. But it was great. I'm glad we had the opportunity to continue to use that content, and I'm happy that Colin and Evan and Paul and the gang and everybody that helped us out in producing and recording those things like the content enough that they're willing to put it out there and keep having us back.
Awesome. Well, it looks like you got a volunteers tribute. It looks like our dude Toby Alpha Magnus says, "I'll do
word.
It."
That's awesome. Yeah.
So there it is. So
that's a smiley face tongue. So I don't know if that's a serious offer or not.
I don't know.
Also, shout out to Shar, who says hi, Mike and Aaron.
Are you looking at Baltimore then next fall potentially?
Yeah, probably. I don't have any reason why not, provided that, we can go places.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing too, it's who knows what's going to happen. But it just, and I don't want to derail us too much, but it's interesting. I have seen things, gradually open up. I think COVID fatigue is kind of a thing also. I was just watching on the news this morning, like folks that have been working from home for months are just suddenly returning, local meteorologists and news anchors and folks like that have, spent months on their Pinterest game getting their work from home studio setups, and now they're just back in the studios with little fanfare. That's not what we're talking about. I do want to talk about, though, before we move on. Let's see. A new episode of Autopod Decepticast dropped, and again, as we talked about at the top, there's I hope folks are ready. Episode is rotten with Mike Seibert.
Yeah. So you are referring to episode number 139, where we, being the Autopod Decepticast and Mike Seibert, talk about Auto Berserk, which for whatever reason, I can't remember the in-joke behind this, has been subtitled The Rum and Pineapple Years, and I am not sure what that means, but yeah, that's the episode, classic episode where Red Alert has an injury and he has a little post-traumatic disorder.
A paranoid meth head, basically. Right. So, and
a temporary team up.
I wanted to ask you about
a temporary team up between Starscream and Red Alert as well. I mean, not to spoil too much for it, but no, it's a fun ep.
Absolutely. And I wanted to ask you about that because like we, a little peek behind the curtain, we taped that out a few weeks ago, and I've done a lot of content since, so I've kind of forgotten about the episode. We were talking in the notorious APDC group text and something about like an Alex Jones impression, and I had no idea what anybody was talking about. But I know you've recently just been under the hood in the editing suite, kind of spending more time with that episode than I have. And yeah, I was wondering if there were any additional nuggets that we can call folks to please check out our episode.
The Alex Jones one stood out. What the heck else? I mean, let's just let Alex Jones be the hook that drags everybody into the. Would you mind to do an impression real quick? Give us a taste of.
I will. Oh, if I feed my family, and if I see you, I will eat your ass. I will eat your ass. Mike Seibert eats ass.
All right, hang on. Let me remix that. I will eat your ass. Okay.
So, from my takeaway from that is that Alex Jones eats ass. Well, I mean, how delightfully progressive.
I mean, if you
LOL indeed.
if you have the devil in you, I mean, that's the only way to get the devil out of you. One other thing, since it's actually not going to be on the podcast, and I don't know if this person will be tuning into this before they listen to the podcast, but there is a listener of the show, Combatimus217, and this person's birthday is today. We've never met this person in person. They left an iTunes review and mentioned that today, this Sunday, is their birthday, so we didn't get a chance to shout that out, but hopefully you get a chance to listen and hear that, and we'll give it a shout out in a couple weeks. Sorry, that was a little random, and a nice transition from Alex Jones and what he might have for lunch today.
Palate cleanser.
Yeah, we needed that.
Well, shout it out loud. Happy birthday.
Yeah, thank you. I'm so mad that I can't remember. We fought a lot about what the Negavator does. The Negavator is the main trope of the episode, and I was saying it made things disappear. Everybody else probably rightfully believes that it just basically incinerates it or sends it to another universe or something. I don't know.
Now, see, I do remember this litigation now. It negavates.
Right.
I mean, Caleb.
That's the one thing we know.
Credit for that kill. It negavates. Right. That's all you need to know.
I'm trying to remember. There's some Gary Busey references. There was some is Red Alert a Manchurian Candidate? That was a topic of discussion. But yeah, that's enough. That's enough. A taster. Just go listen. It's out right now.
Absolutely.
After listening to this, don't stop listening to this.
Right. Oh no, my view count though. We've driven them away.
Down by a third.
Oh, that's terrible.
Strangely, ours is up by a third.
All right, man. So,
but thank you for doing the show, and also, what should you hop on next? What episode might you be interested in exploring?
Oh gosh, I was just thinking about this the other day too. The first one that pops into my head is Autobop, but I know that's further down the road because that has Trax and Raoul and people being hypnotized in a nightclub, but more than anything, it has Blaster v Soundwave. Mm-hmm. And so that makes it an instant classic for me, but it's also a iconic classic for you guys because the music that plays in the disco is directly the direct inspiration for your theme music.
That's true.
I'm sure you guys will have a lot of things to say about that. But there was another one sooner that I was thinking of, and it's just not off the top of my head. But yeah, I think sometime within the next few months we should definitely do something. Again, a MSRP X APDC,
right?
And since Shar is hanging out here in the chat as well, I think we talked about this already, but we got to do something to get More Than Meets the Pod involved also, and do like this 3-way 9-hour recording session crossover. I have no idea what we would do, but I want to do something sooner than when they get to the movie. Because sure. I definitely want to do something with them related to the movie, but I know that that both of you guys, since your podcasts kind of go in parallel, that we're for a year away from getting through season 2. So maybe maybe.
Although I think they're going faster. I think they're going to overtake us and will get to the movie before we do. But. But still, something sooner than later would be great. Yeah. I'm trying to think of what the right episode would be based on the characters that they go gaga over.
Yeah.
I'll think about it. And I see that Shar you've pandered appropriately because we've gotten a yes. And then also, shout out to Toby real quick, because it sounds like he's serious in his offer to be the cameraman, but he'll need I don't understand the trunk reference. He doesn't live in Canada, does he? I thought he was in Minnesota or something. What border?
Ohio.
Okay.
Like Cleveland.
I don't know what border he's going to have to cross.
Border?
But he is going to have to sleep in the trunk, though. I mean,
there it is. Well, if you guys take the van, you can just throw the mattress back there.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I think the time is here. The time is now. And incidentally, we've already shouted folks out in the chat. If you are watching this and are excited for our scorching hot takes as we go through the third party panel, feel free and drop your hot takes and reactions. That's what this show is all about. It's just, kind of getting that sear on the meat, getting that scorching hot take before all of the other pundits have time to really think about it and kind of. Yeah, we just wanted to kind of do something visceral. So, So I think without further ado, my screen is shared. I'm just going to go ahead and hit play. And
so if your screen is shared, does that mean it should be the biggest element, or are all of our images the same size?
I think it's all the same size, but let me see if I can modify that a bit. Maybe I could do.
Oh, look at that.
So we can do that and then leave us teeny tiny down. Oh, I'm stuck in a corner. I can live with that. You good with that?
Yeah. Okay.
Also, I was thinking about this because we're going to share the video and it's just going to be here on the live stream. It's like, well, hey, Mike, aren't you afraid of being, taken down or, infringing on anything? And I'm like, wait a sec. This is
third party of a third party.
We're talking about unlicensed transforming robot dolls. So, and this is an unlicensed third party podcast about it. So I think we're in the clear. So without any further ado, I'm going to go ahead and press the play.
Okay,
we're going to watch.
Pause 1 second. I do have a small soapbox to get on, and that is. Were you following along on the YouTube or on Facebook?
YouTube. Because of the prep I was doing halfway through, the prep I was doing for this, I only jumped in halfway through. So some of this early stuff, I mean, I've seen of it is going to be.
I might have lost you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I didn't hear. I heard you say you got some early stuff. Or you weren't able to really interact with it, is what I got.
Correct.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, but I watched it on YouTube.
The small soapbox I was going to get on is Ryan and Stacy are adorable co-hosts of this thing, and Ryan's been I think he's been managing it all the Tfcons. I know when he has all the contacts that get the images of the new stuff and he curates it, And I love the dynamic that he and his wife Stacy have when they do this. And just, I mean, a personal message from me to all the commenters that bitch about the sense of humor and the corniness: go fuck yourself, because you have no soul. And I want to feel sorry for you, but I don't. You probably have a terrible life, and you deserve your terrible life. And so that's my mini soapbox. This is their show. They've got the contacts. They'll do it the way they want to do it. And if you don't like it, go make your own third-party panel. I'll leave it at that. And go find some joy in your life.
Yeah.
That's my hottest take of this whole thing.
I agree.
That's why I don't get on social media. I can't stand comment feeds. I can't stand comments, period. I can't deal with it.
Yeah. I hear you, but again, they do a fantastic job. And I agree with you, Aaron. They are adorable. And I don't know, maybe it's an age thing, because I'm sure if some of those gross troll people were tuning into this, because I mean we're just doing a show for our friends, you know, that kind of thing. So I'm sure if those garbage people snuck into our feed, they'd be like, we spent 25 minutes talking about just pre-show grab ass, and right. So.
Well, sorry I dropped an F-bomb. Now you're demonetized. Sorry, Mike.
Oh, no. They're going to take my no dollars away from me.
You're going to have to pay $4 to the swear jar. All right, let's get into it. It was an interesting third-party panel. A lot of weird stuff, and it kicked off weird. So let this ride a second.
Yeah.
It's so okay. So you have Ryan and Stacy who host this thing and have they're doing their voiceovers, but this Make Toys thing felt like it was pinned on after the video had already been edited, and Make Toys, however it's pronounced, and this was just pinned on really awkwardly with no voiceover, no sound, just a little bit of a couple of slides saying, "Hey, we got some Seekers. Our Seekers are coming out. We got this Acid Storm. It looks like a remold of their Starscream with more faces, and we promise you, our cone heads are going to come out." And it was really weird. It felt very awkward. This is a company that feels like it's been kind of on the skids for the last year. They keep disappearing off the scene, and you can pause it there. They keep disappearing off the scene and coming back and sending out letters saying, "Hey, we're still alive. We're still working on it. We got this Jazz re-release, and it's going to be extra painted. We promise we're going to finish all the stuff that we said we're going to finish." And then just to not have them have a real formal presentation, to have something that just was tacked on, was weird. It actually makes me more worried about the company. And if you were to back up, you'd see some release dates that they're putting out there for some of those figures. And I wouldn't bank on any of those release dates based on the evidence before me here. But the problem is, I love this company. I've got the one cone head that they have out. I want those other two cone heads because I don't have a finished cone head collection, and theirs is the best. I also have their 3 main Seekers. They're beautiful, and of course they're going to be competitive with the Takara one that's coming out. But it's a great company. They make great things. They also need to finish some Headmasters. But I hope that I'm wrong, and that they're moving forward and progressing and financially fitnessed.
Well, and this is a different conversation for a different day, because I don't think we can tangent too much within. We just have too much material.
You're right. It was just a weird start to the whole event.
Yeah, well, and I want to dig deeper some other time, kind of like the state of third party, because like we've seen some rumblings, and without spoiling the end of this panel, sure. I wonder if the how shall we say, lack of a certain exhibitor, what that may or may not mean. Sure. It might mean everything. It might mean nothing.
Yeah.
Hashtag Diecast was right. I don't know.
That's really funny. Yeah, this Planet X, I'm thinking so Planet X does these War for Cybertron figures that are masterpiece style, and they also have an IDW figure and another one coming out that we'll see here in a second, but it looks good. I'm not in for it. This is a remold or retool of their Optimus Prime figure, and I guess, is it an Ultra Magnus reference? I don't know that game well enough to.
So it's like the Transmissions guys
have
explained it better.
It's a Diaclone.
It's a Diaclone reference. So they explained it better than I could here, but basically it's they took the Ultra Magnet, or it's a redeco of their Ultra Magnus in Diaclone colors, basically.
Got it.
And so, yeah, it was it. One of the other things I found interesting is when Daryl was talking about it, Cybertronian Beast, he had talked about this Japanese trailer for Transformers the movie with like all of the extended battle scenes and all of that. But he was sounding like he had just discovered it.
Oh, really?
And I'm like, oh, buddy, that's on my 20th anniversary DVD from over 10 years ago. I mean, the footage is great, but it does feature Ultra Magnus in his kind of black and red and blue Diaclone colors.
Yeah, I know the scene you're talking. It's like a cut scene that is kind of in the base or something and comes running out. Yeah.
Yep. And so anyway, so this is a homage to that, and what makes it a TFCon exclusive is that it's in a metallic deco.
Okay.
So that's one of the show exclusives for TFCon online.
Well, to pick up the pace here a little bit, their Shockwave looks great. My experience with this company is that they have a Deathsaurus. It's a great figure. It's solid. I bought an add-on kit for it so I can have an IDW version and a G1 homaged version. It looks great. It's well painted. It's a beautiful figure. I have no doubt all their other work is pretty well reviewed. And I'm sure this Shockwave looks cool as hell. So War for Cybertron people I know they've got a Prime out. They've got a Megatron out. I think a couple Seekers maybe. But solid company putting out good products.
Good stuff. Let's see if I can zip this along a little bit. Oh yeah, and I was going to mention
the Diaclone Grimlock. I think that's already out, right? I think that's out.
That's a G2 Grimlock.
Oh, G2, not Diaclone.
And he's been out for like a year or so. And again, it's a cool aesthetic, big and thick and beefy. But yeah, I mean, I don't have any interest in this aesthetic. It's fine. But yeah,
I remember when this game came out, it was a little bit after the Bay movies started coming out. And I remember everybody saying, look, you actually can create a realistic looking Transformer that homages G1 in a way that is, still realistic and doesn't look like a pile of garbage super glued together.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they're doing IDW stuff, too. This Grimlock, I believe MMC has designs for Grimlock, too, from an IDW perspective. But these drawings look great. I will completely grab this bad boy if and when it ever comes out. It's a beauty. In both modes, the robot mode looks exactly like the what would have been Alex Milne-style drawings of Grimlock. And, the robot mode looks great, too.
That's dope.
Super articulated. The tail looks like it can swivel all about.
Well, and it's interesting because again, maybe a different conversation for a different day, but clearly there's still a demand for characters inspired by the IDW1 comics continuity.
MMC, half of their business would be gone if that wasn't true.
Yeah. And again, not to be provocative, but I don't see anybody clamoring for IDW designs.
I need to get in that comic world so I can make that call. This was an interesting one. So Zeta is basically disappeared. They put out their two giant combiners, which I have both of them and can testify to their quality and great looks. They've got a Superion and their Bruticus out, of course, and now they're doing this legend-sized Superion, and it looks great, but it's just weird because it's one of those companies that is just, it's on a weird track, right? They were going to put out their Unicron, then that whole whatever that Hasbro kerfuffle was, then it came out under a different name, different brand, maybe a different company, I don't know. And then, but they also had Trainbots in the works. They also had Predacons. They had a design for a Predacon at least, and there was a render of one of the Trainbots, and we'll get more previews of that later, and we can circle back around to this thread. But Zeta is a company that puts out good quality product. I like it. They're derivative of Toy World themselves, and now they're just in this weird space. But that I'm not going to buy it. But that Superion does look great. Great little Legends piece there.
So is that just downsized from their masterpiece scale?
It looks like, whenever I take a glance, just very top level, it looks a lot like the masterpiece scale.
Yeah.
That torso on the Superion looks a little bit different. That's more toy or even animation inspired, to be honest. But I would have to spend some time looking at it. But yeah, the characters, even the weird way that some of the face sculpts are off and kind of mushy, is the same as the way they're off and mushy in the masterpiece versions. So I'm feeling they look good. I'm not, like I said, I'm not going to buy them, but it's a good company that makes good stuff. But they're also, Legends would be a new thing for them, as far as I know. They haven't been in the Legends game, so now they're a new entrant into that game. And it'd be kind of weird that they're just they'd be recycling their masterpiece figures to do it. But we'll see. Yeah,
well, and again, Legends is all the rage. You know, it seems like, as I don't know if you want to call it the economy or whatever, but it just seems like maybe even just like available space.
Sure.
Where it seems like collectors are downsizing, kind of like half the price, half the size. I think that Legend scale definitely appeals.
True. And I don't think that there is a Legends. There hasn't been a Legends combiner other than the ones that Iron Factory has put out. I think they put out a Bruticus, and what is the other alternate, Baldigus or something? Just a recolor of Bruticus. So it's a space. The combiner space in Legends is still pretty fertile territory. Yeah, this Kidman company you've got up here, never heard of it. I think it's a new player. I think these are original designs. I don't know what they're inspired by. Do you, Mike?
No clue.
But I don't think they transform. I think they're posable statues, is what I got from the presentation. Kind of what do they call it? Flame Toys style.
Oh, sure, like a Furai model kit type of thing.
Well, and not even a model kit necessarily, but just a posable action figure, highly articulated.
Interesting.
And then the Mega Tank thing, I'm assuming you've got Mega Tank up here. I'm assuming that's a Bumblebee movie Megatron.
I think that's a fair assumption because it aesthetically looks like it. So, I don't know how I feel about these toys that are kind of doing like imagination experiments. I don't know who this is for. It's not for me, because I guess for me, what I look for in a figure is something that resembles something. Mm-hmm. Meaning, like, it doesn't have to be 100% tune accurate. I know that's kind of like the aesthetic that kind of seems to be the rage, getting more and more tune accuracy. See our entire discussion about Studio Series 86. I mean, that's definitely what I'm into, but I'm also down for stuff that looks like it came out of comic books as well.
Sure.
So, but ones that don't look like anything, I can't get into it.
Do you mean that even for Official, when Official puts out their giant, highly articulated figures that aren't based on any fiction in particular?
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
It just doesn't do anything for me.
I like a good original take on things. I mean, as a creator, I'm sure you like to get those opportunities to interpret a character your way, but for the purposes of commerce, it's hard to make an argument that people want to see a brand new thing that's not connected to anything, and then on top of it, it's third party. but if that Megatron is connected to the Bumblebee universe in some way, then it should be on solid ground. But sure. I don't know. So you've got it paused here on. I love Fans Hobby. Fans Hobby is a great company. I don't have this Minerva design, but this is another one of those con exclusives, right?
So let's talk about MB12B Wheel Blade. I had mentioned that I don't like it. I think the Headmaster head is kind of goofy. The proportions are weird, and I don't think it's a good fit for Windblade. Windblade's a jet. So and I know once we get back and Shar joins us back in the chat, I know she has some very pointed thoughts about it as well, going so far as to saying like, well, that would be the same thing as making Starscream a Jeep or something like that. You know, some there are certain innate characteristics of the character. So yeah, and I'm inclined to agree with that. But I guess I'll just be more on the catty side and just say that it looks goofy.
Yeah.
And which is weird because like for the proportions, as I said, Athena looks great. It makes for a really cool Minerva, but for some reason, this just does nothing for me.
We got mixed reaction in the audience. It sounds like Alpha Magnus and Pizza Toss and Mike both are loving that piece. So controversy.
I love it.
Indeed.
I love controversy.
I'm not going to pick it up. I think the Minerva mold looks good. It hasn't been reviewed very well in terms of its stability and materials quality. Maybe they've improved it for this figure. Hopefully, the Fans Hobby in general puts out great product. And speaking of, the Overlord is great. The upgrade kit, I'm hit or miss on. The faces don't quite deliver. They're trying to do that IDW thing. It doesn't quite give you that taste of Milne that you want, that the MMC version of Overlord's face does. But it's still a great looking figure, particularly for a G1 homage. Just looks nice and thick, and it's got great reviews. But as far as the add-on kit goes, I don't know if it's really accomplishing what I think it's supposed to accomplish, which is to give it a little IDW taste. I don't know if it's quite getting there.
Gotcha.
Yeah, those faces.
That's super goofy.
Yeah,
super goofy.
We don't have to spend much time. So obviously we've got the Armada stuff, and I think it looks great for what it's worth. I think that it's not for me personally, but again, Fans Hobby is a great company that puts great product out, and this looks like it's going to be a lot of fun for those that are interested in it.
I don't know when the crest of or the wave of Unicron trilogy nostalgia is going to crest. I hope I'm long dead by the time that happens.
Mike.
I got no time for it. I got no time for it.
Well, speaking of time, that makes it an appropriate time to move past this. There was another piece to this.
Oh my God, this just keeps going.
Yeah, they spent a lot of time on this particular one, but I think it's probably their next giant release.
You know what? God bless folks that want it. It's fine.
I mean, it looks like a great figure. It's got all the good things that their Power Master Prime had in terms of articulation and just giant presence. I have that Power Master Prime. It looks great on a shelf. I've got it next to Star Saber, and I can't remember what Star Saber's buddy's name is, and then I'm guessing these guys here. That's another Headmaster Junior, though, right?
Correct. Yes.
Okay. So the whole work on that, I'm not collecting it, but they all look great. Hopefully the figures have the same quality, end up having the same quality that the figures I know of do. Oh, and they're monster bots, the Fans Hobby monster bots. I've got all three of those. These guys are great at finding spaces that nobody's touching and executing really well with some really great designs and quality materials.
Which again, that's when third party is at its best, when it's going in between the cracks and stuff that Hasbro will never touch.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I mean, I think look at that Athena figure. That's not bad.
All three of those little guys look great. And I'm tempted just because I have that power baser. I haven't bought the God Bomber extension, but
Right.
but I'm tempted. I'm tempted with all of it, but I'm just I don't know, trying to hold off for whatever reason.
I hear you.
I don't know. This has got to be an Armada reference, right? Is it an Armada combiner thing? Okay.
I have no idea. I have
feel
a
like
blank slate here. I have
feel
literally
like Toby
no idea
and
what
Mike
any of
might
this
be
is.
the only people that might know the answer to that in the audience, but
Yeah. Well, and he says RID 2001 is his jam. And you know what? Ironically enough, I don't got a bad thing to say about car robots. The bridge, the link in between the Beast era and then getting Transformers back into being vehicles. So I can't say a bad thing about it, but and it's kind of it's fun and goofy and all that. But yeah, sure enough, these look like they're just like, some like rotten minicons or some nonsense like that. I didn't really think I was going to come here being so provocative about my anti-Unicron trilogy rhetoric, but here we are. So we have confirmation it's Energon Prime. And I think that's
good looking out.
Yeah, thanks.
So Moon Studio. Okay,
yeah,
right.
Here we go.
So now we're getting into some controversy, perhaps, or some intrigue, if nothing else. Which would be that this design, or at least that I want to say the left leg of that thing, was a reveal by Zeta Toys at Tfcon, I believe LA, and people got really excited about it. That Zeta's gonna do the train bots, and of course, most people know the history of Zeta between then and now. Either they've sold that design to somebody else, like they did with Unicron, or they're operating under another LLC or however that works from a Chinese dynamic. But they're putting. I have the Headmaster series. I've gotten about halfway through it. It's long, dude. There's like 30 freaking episodes of that show, and it is really hard to get into subtitles for me in anime. I'm still in for it because I'm collecting the Headmasters. I've got all the Masterpiece Headmasters that are available to this date from Make Toys and Fans Toys. So I'll get it. Big old combiner. It's got that G1 aesthetic. I'm gonna get it. It looks, but it's still weird origins, whatever that is.
Yeah, it's crazy, but yeah, I mean, a proper Raiden is something that fans have been clamoring for years, and these renders look pretty good. It's a pass for me, but I'm glad that it's a thing that's going to be happening if it happens.
They got renders of every character, and they all look great. It'll be interesting to see when they actually start physically manifesting.
Yes. Don't bother me, I'm manifesting. Oh yeah, it just keeps going. All these trainmen, and that's fine.
Hey, I think most people are probably in it for that combined mode. It looks great.
Yeah.
And Zeta has proven to make great combined figures.
So
sturdy, aesthetically nice. It's all kinds of parts forming goodness. Although who knows, maybe this won't be that because of the nature of it with the 6 robots.
Yeah, and each of the robots looks very solid.
And then we're into King Toys, which is part of the same circle of drama. I don't know, again, I don't 100% know all of the history and politics behind all of this. But as Zeta Toys was to Toy World, I believe King Toys is to Toy World. Toy World was going to put out a Predaking. Also, Zeta Toys was going to put out a Predaking. I believe there were some line drawings, if not renders, put out of both of their versions. Both of their designs were different. And I believe, I'll be corrected when I'm wrong, that this was the Toy World design that's either picked up by another company or it's Toy World by another brand. But I want to be in for these. How do you feel about them, Mike?
I don't like them. I think like when I first saw that dive bomb, I thought it was like a Gundam wing or something. I don't know if I can articulate what bugs me about these, but something bugs me about it. I don't know if it's just overly detailed,
Mm-hmm.
or what. But yeah, it's just I think one of the things I said earlier, it's like, I like figures that represent some kind of interpretation of the
Sure.
characters. And to me, these look too far off of the killing. Like, I don't know, or if it's just supposed to be something unique, but yeah, I'm not excited about these.
I'm partially with you and partially against you. I do
Okay.
I want a G1 Predaking, like probably a lot of people do. And these designs are cool as hell, though. The dive bomb's actually my least favorite, probably because it's the most far afield. The other two look great, but the reviews on the other two have been really good. The Rampage and the Tantrum, and they're very articulated. They've got great articulated hands, and I like the design aesthetic, but I get into this place where this collection I have is so G1. Is it just going to stick out like a sore thumb?
Yeah.
Plus, they're doing a weird thing. It's well, nobody really knows because there's been no renders released of the finished Predaking, and there's 6 figures to this, and the thought is based on some teasers they've put out, and that this goes even back to the Toy World days, that one of those teasers is going to be like an Optimus Primal monkey, and that's just a weird choice. But I mean, it's a choice if you're making original designs. It's your choice to make, and a lot of people are in for this, so I think it's going to be a successful line either way. But yeah, I'm just on the fence for it as well. Well, you're not on the fence. You're off the fence. I'm on the fence.
I'm off the fence. And really, and you said it earlier, Aaron, but your collection is so focused. Right. And so, like, as somebody that's your friend and an observer, I'm like, I don't see this sitting on your shelf with these. And I'm not trying to necessarily take swipes at Gundam Wing. I like Gundam Wing just fine.
Oh no, you hate it. It's been made clear, and the audience knows it's clear.
And I don't disagree with Toby, because it's better than just being slavish to G1 all the time. And I get that G1 fatigue is a thing also, and that's the cool thing about third parties, that you can do all of these crazy things and do different stuff. That doesn't mean it's for me, though. That's all.
Sure.
One guy talking.
I see this. If I were to get it, they'd be in beast mode, but their robot modes are so cool looking. But I see it like having the beast mode versions of them. Maybe, I don't know. I am following this pretty closely, and I'm looking forward to seeing what that Predaking homage looks like, and I imagine it's going to look pretty neat.
See, and that's the thing too, and it could be one of those things that, like, once you give me the combined form, I'll be like, oh, I see now. I could have one of those come to Jesus moments where it's like, right. Oh, if this is what we were building towards, then I'm all in. But as it stands now, the robots look cool, but not for me. Here we go. So we go back to the where the purple potato shockwave, where he's they just blitz past that real quick.
Yeah, I think maybe because it's been revealed before, but so is that Soundwave. So yeah, we're transitioning to Lemon Tree, which is a relatively new company. I think they've put out one thing, which is a Bumblebee movie Optimus Prime, but I think the first renders that they put out to tease that they even existed as a company was that purple potato, which I don't know if you have the ability to back it up, but I'm all in on that just because that having a revenge is cool. It'll be in revenge mode on a stand, and that's it for me on that one. And the Bumblebee movie stuff all looks good enough if you're into that line. I'm not going to be doing that, but it looks like this is going to be a cool company, and I think that Optimus Prime they put out was relatively well reviewed, so this could be a contender in the future. And just extra points for creative names. They've got the purple potato, eggplant, carrot. I want to say their Starscream is, what is it? Star Cream.
Star Cream, yes. And I agree with you on all of that, Aaron. I'm also gonna pass on the Bumblebee movie figures, But I want to go back to this purple potato for just another second here. When we talked about this back in March, it was renders. Or maybe like a grayscale proto. I don't remember which, but regardless, seeing it so I don't know if this is a colored prototype or if it's the final product, but this image here of the Revenge, I like it less.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with this bulbous back here. It's like it
is kind of an insectile abdomen.
Yeah, the shape is suddenly wrong, and I don't know if I just overlooked that when we first saw it back in March, but yeah, I don't know. It just it just looks really weird to me all of a sudden, and my enthusiasm for it has bottomed out, unfortunately.
Well, thanks a lot, Mike. Now that's going to stick in my craw, and if I end up hating this thing, it's going to be your fault and not ordering it.
I understand. Well, and what's going on with that cockpit canopy thing? I legit don't remember that from the movie. So, I mean, it could be there.
I haven't compared it side by side to any animation renders, but I like the concept. To me, it looks good. It would look good enough nobody's going to make that ship. So it looks good enough to look good on a shelf, and I can see it next to the fans' toys, Galvatron and Cyclonus and the X-Transbot sweeps and the Core Star Unicron, and I think I can see it all feeling good together.
Yeah. I hear you. So, okay, so what do we got going on here? So this is
a few more movie people. That's the Star Cream.
Yeah.
We're hearing an officially licensed Revenge coming from that model kit company, which maybe is Flame Toys.
Oh,
well, if that is the case, then I might be out on this because I don't need it to transform into a Shockwave and be happy with it.
No,
that was a weird choice, honestly, but I feel like it works for the most part.
It's purple, and it's it's better than trying to do the contortion manipulation to make either like a Cyclonus or a Galvatron or a Scourge or something, or maybe you just combine them. Anyway, we're not doing that. But no,
we'll pass through this pretty quickly, I would imagine. Yet the Ironhide, they all look good in render mode.
Yeah, they look fine. But yeah, I just again, as much as I like the Bumblebee movie and I like what they did aesthetically, that doesn't mean I want toys of it. Like I was this close to buying Studio Series Optimus Prime from Bumblebee, and ultimately I put it down because I'm like, I don't need this.
Right.
And even here's a provocative hot take from Mike Cyber. Even if they did that Soundwave, I think I would pass on it because it's fine. I like the design. I like what they did. I like that they threw him in the movie. I don't think I need a doll of it.
Really? Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah. Which is weird because I'm a Soundwave stan. So, actual mileage may vary. Oh my gosh. Dad.
Yeah. So we've transitioned to X-Transbots. They're showing renders. These may be some new renders. Still no prototypes, I don't think. There might have been some old prototypes of the Autobot Spike, which these guys have been. This has been revealed 2 years ago. This is old news, and it doesn't look like they've pushed it forward that much at all. So I don't know what kind of reception they were expecting to get out of this. X-Transbots is one of my favorite companies. So as I knock them, I want everybody to know that I respect the work they do. But and honestly, to be fair, they did come with some of the newness, but then also some disappointing lack of reveals as well. But yeah, so Autobot Spike, I'm in for it. There was a different third party, I can't remember their name, that came out with kind of a rubbery, soft, plasticky version that might have been Masterpiece scaled. I think a lot of people liked it, and fill a shelf and just check the box on this kind of character, that's good. I'm sure the X-Transbots version will be better quality and probably 3 times as expensive, but I'd rather wait for that one. I'm sure it'll be nice and articulated. I don't think the other one, that the other third party whose name I can't remember, I don't think it was as a super articulated figure. I think maybe its arms swiveled a little bit and maybe had some elbow bend, and then they start to get into their Deathsaurus, which they've been teasing for a few years now as well. I like how they teased it up by showing the breast masters first and then getting into the Deathsaurus. Like I said, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, because like that makes for a good tease, because folks that know the character would be like, oh man.
Yeah. They knew it was coming, and this has been in their roster for a while. I don't think we've ever seen any renders this good or detailed, but I don't know. Is the space going to be filled by all the MMCs of the world that'll probably beat this to market, or by the Planet X version? I don't know, but it looks good, and when it starts to become a reality, I might consider it. I don't know anything about the character. Like I said, I got halfway through Headmasters.
So you were thinking of what was it? Zone and Super God Master Force, I think.
Was Zone the one episode thing that was after all of that, or was Zone a series? I can't remember. Like I said, obviously not familiar enough with the Japanese stuff, but I think the Deathsaurus character looks so cool that I'm always kind of intrigued by it.
And also before we pivot, you might do some clever editing and toss this back in a couple minutes ago. Blue Lobster was the Autobot Spike you were thinking of, X-Frank.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Yeah, from last year.
I probably won't do that clever editing. Everybody that was yelling, saying Blue Lobster, can now just get that satisfaction.
Exactly.
So you're transitioning to the Omnibots, which was something that definitely the presenters were excited about. I'm a little less excited, but glad it's happening for sure. And they look great. I love their this is X-Transbot's gift. They were actually better than fans' toys early on at some of the sculpts that they were doing in their Toon homage. They're taking these characters that were never in the Toon, making them look like they were in the Toon, but still paying off on the toy aesthetic and colors and decal look, all of that. They look really. I'll probably get them, even though I have little interest in them. I just love X-Transbots as a company.
I agree, and they're super cool, because like I don't know if we've seen other representations of the Omnibots. Those
certainly not in masterpiece form.
No, and these are MP scaled.
I think so. Yeah.
Wow.
I can tell their fingers are that kind of old school KFC X-Transbot articulation. So I think they have to be masterpiece scaled for that. I could be wrong.
Got it. Interesting. But yeah, I like these. These are pretty cool looking, and I like that they're almost better cars than they are robots.
Beautiful as cars. You're absolutely right about that. Lots of nice little details, nice touches technically.
Yeah. See, now this is some nonsense I could throw next to my alternators. Because again, that's people make fun of me, but the reason why I like that line so much is that they are such great cars.
Mm-hmm.
And so you get something like where you're getting like really sharp looking cars. I could get down on some of that. I don't know if I'm going to buy them, but yeah, I see what you're saying now about the fingers. That's kind of like classic third party masterpiece scale there.
You just inspired an idea that anybody can steal, because I'll never do anything with it. But something that Hasbro Takara should do. They should do a line of alternators 84 edition. And they don't have to be slavish to the cartoon, but they do have to be slavish to the actual 84 automobile modes.
Oh, dude, that would be dope, because again, that's one of the big criticisms about alternators is that, sure, they're great cars, but they're kind of garbage robots, and the character mix is goofy, and none of the characters look like good representations of the characters.
Right.
But yeah, no, I really like that idea. Where it's like, you can just recycle whatever in name only you want to use. But yeah, like some really good licensed versions of vehicles, because like that's something I've been disappointed with in I'm gonna pause it here. What I've been disappointed in current Hasbro Takara Masterpiece is that they're licensed cars, I mean, or licensed vehicles, but they look like garbage. Like for example, Masterpiece Hound is a pretty good animated hound, but he looks like garbage as a Jeep.
And you might be biased because I know you're a Jeep family. So
yes.
I think that it's the other people may not know the difference, or I don't know. If I were to take like Masterpiece tracks, would I be able, if I was a Corvette nut, would I be able to pick it apart the same way? I don't know. But I don't know where I was going with that, other than just calling out your Jeep bias.
Yeah. But no, you're right. We are a Jeep family, and that
but they're Optimus Prime. To your credit, though, they're Optimus Prime. The newest one that came out is at 44. It does not look like a good truck. I mean, maybe it does from the very front on angle, but it doesn't take going much further back to see that thing is starting to fall apart. And it was really about the robot mode, which I don't really hate on that, honestly. I prefer the robot modes anyway, but that's my preference.
Well, see, and I feel like, again, I'm drifting into other topics for different days, but I feel like the early Masterpiece cars kind of split the difference very well. Like
those Datsuns look amazing.
That's exactly the example I was going to give. I've got a couple of them at this point, because like it really threads the needle between the robot mode that you want with, like, you know, the perfect door wings, and they just look really cool as Datsuns. But it is funny, though, I put it next to my alternator Silver Streak, and it's like half the size and has plastic tires, and I'm not going to litigate this right now.
Well, and it's another conversation, but it's also just the change in strategy and aesthetic for the Masterpiece line as well. But if you don't mind, back it up, though. There's a couple things we have to talk about before we transition to Mastermind Creations. Sorry, Mr. Andrews.
Yeah, and I was going to say, he's literally chanting.
The Defensor was a pretty big reveal, in my opinion, that X-Transbots are going to do that. It makes sense. Defensor is a wide open space from a Masterpiece standpoint. There is, I think, what is it, G Creation or somebody like that is doing a Masterpiece Defensor. There's been other kind of very high quality but not Masterpiece scale Defensors out there. And as we'll get to, that this Defensor market is immediately competitive. But these guys are revealing, what is it, the Streetwise? Is that the name of that? I'm not very good with combiner character names. But so you got Streetwise. It looks, in the KFC fashion, looks good enough to me. It's probably going to be 3 years if it ever shows up. KFC X-Transbots has a very strong history of showing renders that never manifest, but hopefully they do. The other thing to close out on is that obviously people were probably very pissed off that we didn't see a trailer or Menasor finish. I mean, people have seen, they've been, even at the last Tfcon in United States, and maybe period, which was DC.
Yeah.
They had the Defensor, Menasor there on the show floor, but it looked a little dodgy. You could tell it needed work, and it was painted in G2 colors. So they were kind of toying with you a little bit. All the characters are out. People have been waiting for this trailer for months. Will it be out by the end of the year? Nobody really knows. And X-Transbot is playing with people's emotions on Facebook and on all the social medias. They're very coy, and I don't think they're coy in a funny way. People on the boards are lit up about the fact that thing's not out yet. I'm confident when it comes out, it'll be nice quality. All the figures some have been better than others. Overall, it's a good set, and I'm talking about their Stunticon set. So I have full faith that they'll put out a good Protectobot set. Mastermind Creations.
Yeah. Michael Andrews, MMC. MMC.
I've discovered some things I didn't know about Mastermind Creations in this. I knew they were putting out a Deathsaurus, which I originally was going to go in for this, but it was supposed to come out, I want to say April of last year. It's taken them forever to make progress on this. And it honestly, I think we've seen all these renders before. I don't think any of this is new. So I don't know. To me, that means they haven't made progress on it. They didn't put out timing or anything, but it looks okay. I'm Planet X, I'm happy with.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're putting out a version that's more Toon inspired, like an alternate version of this. The Planet X is dope because I have the option for both at any time. If you get the upgrade kit, you can kind of switch out the aesthetic that you're in the mood for. Whereas I think with the MMC one, you'd have to buy 2 different bots.
Gotcha. And I don't know. I've already thrown shade at beloved properties, but this just looks like a Zoid to me.
I don't know anything about Zoids, but is that a Power Rangers reference?
No, I mean it's a toy line.
Oh, okay. Good. Yeah, now I'm about to get the hate.
Yes.
But yeah, this looks good.
Give him the hate.
In robot mode in particular, it looks good. I don't love the IDW inspired dragon mode for this thing. I prefer the chicken G1 aesthetic, but I do like the IDW robot mode.
Fair enough. I agree with you on that. Oh, there he is. Yeah, see, and I will concede that I really like the face sculpt. This robot mode rules. But yeah, I agree with you. It's the dragon mode that doesn't do anything for me. But yeah, I mean, he's got his swords. It is a cool looking figure.
Yeah, and MMC, it's a top tier company. Most of everything they put out is high quality, has a great presence. They've got their pocket, man, and that's why they put them towards the end of the presentation. So here we got the exclusive. This was So I can't remember what the original mold was, but I know there was the exclusive Senator Ratbat that was at Tfcon DC, and this is derivative of that, right?
Yes, that's correct. Yeah, it's a retooling.
Okay. Got it. Well, what do you think of it? You're probably way more of a Batman person than me.
It's funny because like when they first revealed it on I don't remember if it was Thursday or Friday, I had no idea it was a Batman homage.
Okay.
Or I guess since we're in the unlicensed property, we'll call it Bat
Guy
Man, comma man, or Bat Dash Man, or semicolon man. Anyway, I had no idea that this was a Batman figure, and I looked at him just like, why are people saying this looks like a Batwing? It just looks like a black crab spiky thing. Because like I think the only shots of it was from like the waist up, so I didn't see the paint apps on it. And it wasn't until I don't know, maybe even Saturday, when somebody showed more pictures of it, and I saw like the belt area and more of the gray paint apps on the body, that it occurred to me. Knowing that makes me like it more, but I'm not gonna cross the street for it. I know a lot of people are super excited for this figure, but I'm in a spot in my collection where I'm trying to pare down a lot of Batman stuff. Like I had like a lot of like Batman animated series figures that I've recently parted ways with, and stuff that I had for like a really long time that it's just shifting interests and changing tastes. And if I want to buy more Transformers, I probably need to rotate some stuff out. So in a sense, I like Batman. Yeah, see, if I had seen this,
that's a pretty dope
here
image
where you got where you got like the full plumage and stuff like that. That is spectacular. That if I had seen this shot first as opposed to towards the end, I think I would have a vastly different opinion on it, because I think I kind of had a preconceived notion beforehand. I'm like, oh, this is a Batman figure. Oh, that's pretty cool. And I like that third party is messing around with crossing streams, instead of, being limited to kind of, I guess in a sense that I like that they're flirting with infringing on other people's intellectual property as opposed to just John Hasbro's. But
this isn't their first time doing it. I can't remember if it was LA or DC that they put out a Deadpool inspired figure, and I think it was their Drift maybe that they had repainted. Okay.
Yeah, and that was at Tfcon LA.
Okay.
And and it was the same thing. It was a pretty handsome Deadpool figure, but I didn't buy it, and I don't got room for this. Does anybody know what the price point on this guy is? By the way, I haven't looked.
I'm gonna guess. I mean, if it were not an exclusive, it would probably be a 80 to 100. So I'm gonna guess 120. Shout out to my wife who's decided to hop on.
I saw that.
she's probably checking to see how long before we're finished.
Well, they're probably upstairs. It's
hey,
like,
baby, may I have one more drink if you're listening? You won't be interrupting anything if you come down.
Sure.
I'm just hang on. Is that sexist? That's not what that was not a make me a sandwich moment. I apologize if it came across that way.
Right. It wasn't make me a sandwich. It was make me a drink.
Okay, moving on. This
shows off the rails.
I am very excited about this. This will finish. I've been collecting these guys, or the IDW. The
DJD.
Thank you. The Decepticon Justice League. Yeah, there's too many acronyms going on here.
You got to release that Snyder cut.
Tortoris or something like that, I think is what this is called. So, but anyway, this is the last of that grouping. I've got a shelf that's completely dedicated to them. They look great so far. It'll feel nice to finish this off.
Yeah, he's really cool. I like the detailing. And I forget at the end of this, do they show? Okay, very good. I was going to say, it's like, once they show him with the other figures, he definitely fits in. And
because it is the most plain looking one. I mean, it's colored like it was in the comic book. And maybe when you get it in person, there's details that pop a lot better. Most of the other figures, though, they're detailed really well. There's nice light paint apps and things like that set them off. And this one, at least in photographs, doesn't look like it, but I'm hoping in person it'll look good. But I don't care. I'm going to get it either way.
Yeah. I was going to say, I mean, it's a very fine figure. So we move on to Chrome Dome here, who I believe was either was it renders or prototypes back in March? I don't happen to remember.
There were prototypes of this guy in LA, I believe.
That's right. It's all coming back to me now. It all blurs together sometimes, especially when, I don't know, the winds of third party blow slowly at times. So you end up seeing like the same renders multiple times, the same prototypes multiple times. And it's kind of, it gets tricky sometimes tracking the development. So Clown Shoes, Chrome Dome here. I still like the face sculpt. I still think he's a little too lithe for my taste. He's a little skinny through the waist, and I don't know if it's going to show it here. But his those goofy clown feet are still kind of like a weird deal breaker for me. I mean, actually, like, look at these weird proportions. Like, he has like these giant cannon arms, but the rest of him is pretty spindly. I don't know if I'm trying to draw more hate from more folks,
no.
I mean,
I don't disagree with you. I'm going to pick it up because I'm building an IDW shelf, but I think but I feel like you're right. It does, from a design sculpt standpoint, it doesn't feel like their strongest offering ever. Right. And I don't know, I don't know how it even matches to the comic book, because I never perceived the comic character to have those kind of super skinny waist type proportions, but it still looks good in its own way. I'm not a fan of the transformed mode, and did we ever see a transformed mode?
You know what? Even in IDW 1, the characters transform so infrequently, I don't even know what Chrome Dome.
That's a different conversation, Mike. Okay, all right. Well, I'm glad they exist. I'm glad MMC is making them. I'll have to go back and decide how satisfied I am with it, design to design. But it'll be nice to have the characters. I'm just a general fan of MMC, and I'll pick up about anything. I mean, I think to a large degree, MMC was responsible for making me want to get into IDW because I started getting into third party and seeing those figures come out. I thought they looked so good. I wanted to figure out what the inspiration was. Oh, thank you.
Yeah, I don't want us to get distracted because we're going to get distracted when we get there. But I was going to say the
shout out to Melody who just brought me a drink.
I'm at work by myself. There's nobody to fill my water bottle. I was gonna say with the trade-off with this Chrome Dome, I think, is that you get a kick-ass rewind with it.
Rewind looks great. If maybe a little underpainted, the sculpt looks amazing.
Yeah, I agree. And it's like, if that's the trade-off, that's almost fair. Alrighty.
I'm doing a Google search really quickly. I know we're trying to move on of IDW Chrome Dome. And you know what? I'm finding some pictures here. Some Alex Milne pictures where these proportions are pretty accurate down to the clown shoes, man. So I may not have that much to gripe about, honestly. But so we'll move on from that and say this Getaway, which I believe is a retool. I always forget the difference between a retool and a remold. But their hot rod figure, I feel like it looks great. It delivers all it needs to do. The face sculpt is amazing. I
gasped when I saw this because it was kind of a surprise. I didn't think it. I didn't know they were doing Getaway, and he looks like he stepped right off of the page. This is an incredible figure and a really cool retool of a really good Rodimus. Yeah. I like that MMC Rodimus quite a bit. The one I was looking at, I almost bought the one in the Lost Light colors in the blue purple scale.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't pull the trigger on it yet, but
I missed out on the first couple of runs. I've pre-ordered. They're re-releasing the original colored hot rod is going to be coming back out, and so I'm getting that. I've pre-ordered this Getaway. That's actually not a new preview. And then we're to this Orion Pax. It looks like you've got thoughts on it, so you go first.
I mean, I guess my thoughts just kind of begin and end with it's fine. I don't. Who's asking for War Within figures? You know,
I don't think it's not a War Within figure though. It's an IDW reference. So a lot of people probably. But not that there aren't people asking. There's at least one company still that just put out I think it was called Civil War. That was a War Within Optimus Prime. But no, this is an IDW. Who's the artist that did the bulk of the Cybertron-centered?
Andrew Griffith.
Andrew Griffith, yeah, thank you. I think that's a Griffith-styled Orion Pax.
You're right. I see it now.
Or at least I'm on the right track if I'm not totally right.
I got thrown off by the chest.
Yeah, I think that they probably took cues from War Within in evolving that design.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, I see it now.
I'm all in for it. It doesn't feel like you're totally excited by it. I've pre-ordered it as well. It just looks like a crazy feat of engineering with all the posability. But yeah, they've put out a lot of pictures of this thing. It's crazy because this thing came out of nowhere. A couple of months ago, they started putting out pictures of this Orion Pax, and it looks basically complete. Yet their Deathsaurus has been lingering around in development hell for like 2 years.
And this looks far more intricate and way more complicated.
Yeah. In a lot of ways, it looks like kind of the next gen of Masterpiece style engineering, even though their line isn't often thought of as Masterpiece. It's often thought of as more comparable to the main line, but just a little more premium. But anyway, this one looks good. I'm in.
Those hands though.
There's some big old hands, but I kind of like them. I find them a little on the charming side.
Oh no, I wasn't for all the shade that I've thrown. That was actually
you're giving it up for the hands.
I like that. I like that.
They look a little big proportionately, but I'm thinking in person it's going to look magnificent.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. Totally.
All right, we're getting close. We're getting close. MMC was in a lot of ways the star of this show.
Oh, I think so. I definitely think so. And that kind of got like, as I was watching, that kind of got like the biggest reactions for me. The other stuff I was, really lukewarm, but I think I kind of spoiled myself and looked ahead a little bit, and I kind of saw the closer, and like if we were watching this panel in a room full of folks, this would have brought the house down. Yeah, I mean, you get yourself a very IDW rung.
And it's a thing that people have been probably asking MMC of all companies for forever.
Yes. This is perfect for them. It fits their design sensibilities, and it looks great. This was another one where it's like I was messing around with stuff, and it's like, oh, you you had my curiosity. Now you have my attention. I stopped what I was doing and actually just like watched it. But I mean, this is great. Between like all of the hands, all of the faces, yeah, I'm buying this. That was the thing. So I'm in a studio by myself. As I said, there's nobody here, but like to absolutely nobody, I stopped what I was doing. And I said, I'm buying this.
It looks great. I mean, it's MMC, man. The sculpt, they know how to hit those notes, man. Those lost light designs, just nobody could pull it off like them. And nobody even tries to, honestly. Yeah. They're ahead of the game in that way. This is even a weird one, even by their standards, to have all these different. I can't tell if they're face sculpts or total head sculpts. Like I'm trying to decide that they must slide off and just go. Maybe the back of the head stays static and you can take off the front and put it on. And even all the different hands is kind of something that's relatively new even to an MMC. I don't know the DJD figures, the characters' names, except for Tarn, even though I have them all. But the bigger blue guy that came out recently, he has a couple of hand swaps, posy hand swaps for his little T-Rex arms. And but that's the first time I've seen them do something like that. So they're really leaning in on that, which leads me to believe that this guy's probably a smaller bot, or they're just experimenting with expressiveness in a way that just the articulated fingers or a single hinge open and close hand can't give you.
Which I like that.
Yeah.
And I think that's really cool. I mean, again, this is something Hasbro's never going to give us. They
already did, bro. They already did, man. No need for you to slide into the third-party market. Just go get yourself that little tiny Target Master rung. You'll be fine. Michael Andrews says, wait, is that a rung? And I can't tell if he's being obnoxious or not.
I think he's doing shtick. I think that's because anytime somebody else say, it's like, who? Read the comic. It gets real.
Tiny Robot Jesus. That's a great comment. Yeah, we can slide past so then we transition to the Ox. The only thing they had to offer in that Ox line was that Ravage, which is a con exclusive. And there's already been at least three recolors of this Ravage. There's the original and a Toon Accurate, and then a different con exclusive that was blue. So then that would make this number 4, right? It's a great mold. It's a great toy. Yeah. I think we're over Ravage. This is just where I get on a little soapbox and say, where are the Autobot tapes that you teased us? I want to say that was teased back if it wasn't LA, it had to have been Chicago. I can't remember. And they've shown zero progress on that. The world is clamoring for it. Ox, give us the Autobot tapes already. Man shakes fist at Cloud.
It's like, what you doing, Ox? When are you going to bring the tapes, Ox?
I know. Yeah. People are excited for those things, including me.
Absolutely. And I love the engineering. It's a great mold. It's a great representation, but yeah, do something besides Jaguar.
Yeah. And then this is a weird one. I feel like this is a new line. I don't think, the world will correct me if I'm wrong, but they called this the Unlimited series, and I have not heard of that line for them. I've never seen that logo, so maybe it's just new to me and not to others. This Star Convoy, they had prototypes of it at, I want to say it was DC, and it looked great there. I don't know much about the lore of Star Convoy. I think he's supposed to be the original Optimus Prime reincarnated in the whatever that third year of Japanese universe was. Or maybe it's manga. I don't know, man. I don't know, but it looks cool.
Really dicey. And actually, you know, I had a screen up that I forgot about. So you've got Transformers G1, and then when you go to the Japanese anime, you've got Headmasters, Super God Master Force.
That's it.
Victory, and Victory was the one I forgot about, and then Zone is kind of like that capstone.
That
there.
Weird one episode thing where they bring all the combiners back to life, but they all look different. And yeah, I've actually one's on YouTube. I've seen it. It's actually a lot of fun in its own way. But yeah, so I don't know if Star Convoy is part of the animated series or if he's only manga. And so shout out to those who know. But I still think the figure looks good, and because it's MMC, I'll probably buy it.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, it is mighty fine. And it's interesting though, because it is, compared to the other offerings that we were seeing, it is definitely more streamlined and more blocky.
It feels like they are trying to go more for that toon aesthetic, and I feel like it was a pretty big figure. And they showed it against, what did they just show it against? They showed it with was it with Deathsaurus? Anyway, it looks big. It might be a different continuation of their Masterpiece line that just goes into the Japanese manga series.
Yeah.
Which their Masterpiece line is more of that Ocular Max type line, although the Perfection series also goes into that.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, looks good. We'll see how it goes. I mean, these guys are killing it. I even like that doofy, squared off front look. I mean, it almost looks like a G1 toy in a lot of ways.
It really
but I respect it.
Well, and here's the thing too, because like the original Star Convoy figure is a giant hunk of plastic.
Yeah.
It has even less articulation than Power Master Optimus Prime.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like a static block.
Yeah.
Looks cool, but yeah, it is very blocky.
Shout out to the people that do artwork for MMC, particularly the Perfection series, and because that logo looks right off of Japanese Takara. Their box art is amazing too. Whoever does the illustration work on their box art is great. Again, this is another one of those where if we were in the audience in person, the crowd was going to light up. Everybody knew that MMC there'd been some teasers already out there that they were going to do the all built-in Defensor. And to see them start to reveal that, I'm positive people are excited about it. People love that all built-in Bruticus. I own it. I'll never have it in Bruticus mode. Because I like the robot modes. I actually am not that hot on the Bruticus mode, but this thing looks good in Defensor mode, and all the characters look good. That hotspot looks good. Comes from a reputable company, and I'll probably get the X-Transbots and the MMC versions, provided that Fans Toys doesn't step up. But that's a conversation for 10 minutes from now.
Oh, man. I was going to say, are you trying to take us there early?
Yeah, I mean, I think their Bruticus looks perfectly blocky in ways where I feel like their Defensor. In ways that their Bruticus proportionately looked a little wonky, and the all-in-one gimmick didn't really play out for me. It works for me with this guy. The feet don't look like little stubby toes. I mean, it looks like a G1 cartoon to me. I'll have to compare it to some models to see how I really feel later, but I'm not hating on that.
No, not at all. I like it. And
the world wants it. World's been begging for the Defensor, Computron, the Terrorcons. Those are really kind of the three unmet needs of the Masterpiece market. Yeah.
No more Superions. No more Bruticai.
For God's sakes, no more Bruticai.
I can't. But yeah, no, these look great.
That feels good. I'm into it.
Dope. Yeah.
And that was it.
So that brings us to the end of that, but I find myself very confused all of a sudden because I there was I know there was another show exclusive that we didn't talk about. I guess I was waiting for, because I had said that, oh man, it's all going to be in the within the third party panel, but I don't think that's the case because there is one remaining figure that we have not talked about. It's the Fans Project Motormaster.
Okay, is that a G2 homage?
Yeah.
Okay.
So this is a Tfcon exclusive, and this, I believe, is the last one. I think they've done all the other cars already
In a G2.
In the G2 deco.
Okay.
So yeah, I kept waiting for that to come up in the panel, and it never did. Aaron, it doesn't seem like you're overly enthused about Fans Project, or
No, I'm not at all interested.
Okay, very good. That's
you,
that's
Mike.
fine. No.
Okay,
God,
well,
no.
I'm glad we checked the box.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I want to give a shout out to our buddy Evantainment, because he was like, there should be another reveal over at TFW 2005, and as I was skulking through it, this is about the only thing I could see that we haven't talked about already. Like,
Okay.
there's that Magic Square Chibi RC that's been making the rounds, but
I think I have seen that, which is a different aesthetic for them, right? Like, it's kind of
totally.
okay.
Oh, it's adorable. I mean, I like it, but I don't know if I would count that as a reveal because I saw that many days ago.
Right.
So
right.
I
Peach
don't
Girl.
know about,
That's even a cute name.
yeah. And it's, I even tweeted about that too. I was like, about that base, no backpack. Because that RC has zero backpack, and it is pretty awesome.
There's no room for it. That head is giant.
That's
I
true.
guess that's the style.
You're not wrong.
Yeah, so that brings us to the end, and that brings us to the quiet shot heard around the world that there was no Fans toys, and that comes on the heels of some random internet controversy around his Fans toys in some trouble, and don't know any answers to any of that, but
right.
It is notable that they had no presence, and they had a pretty big presence at the online panel that took up the space for Orlando. They had revealed a Jazz, a Huffer. They'd shown a few more pictures of their Tesla, which would be their 2.0 Perceptor.
Yeah.
Mirage is in their pipeline, and obviously they need to finish out the aerial bots, their Stunticons, and they're 3/5 of the way through with those. They've got a lot on their docket. They're the most popular third-party company, probably by, I don't know, them, MMC, X-Transbots. It's weird that there was nothing there for them. And does that add evidence to that conspiracy? Or are they just playing a game, like a game of, you know what, we're so baller, we don't need to put out little renders and little teasers because people are going to buy whatever we want. But I don't know how that benefits them either.
Well, because there's a few different ways to slice it, and I don't disagree with you on any points. I made the comparison in March to a lot of this intrigue and drama being compared to WWE in terms of like
there's some kayfabe going on here.
Yeah, exactly. And the thing I said then, and I'll say it now, they didn't even have to put up a single render, and we're still talking about them.
Yeah.
So Fans toys is as much top of mind as any of the stuff that we just went through, and they didn't have to do the legwork to display a single thing. Do I agree with that tactic? I don't think so. I think I look at it as a wheel that you have to feed. So choosing to not feed the wheel for whatever reason, seems I think there's a short-term gain in that. As I said, we're talking about it. I'm sure
But people are talking about him anyway.
Exactly. So then that brings us to the baller move approach. And I don't know if I appreciate that style of arrogance from a toy company that wants my money.
And a toy company that is also do the research and argue about the legality of it all, but is playing with a property that frankly they don't have rights to. It would be interesting to dig in a little bit with Ryan and Stacy and see if there's a story that they'd be willing to tell around that, because it is notable, and I know that we're talking about it and everybody else in the community is going to talk about it. It's weird, it's notable. I don't, there's no way for me to know if it has anything to do with the rumors that were circulating weeks ago. I don't think that they would be the type of company that would do it as a baller move either, because it seems like you want to keep the hype going. It's only going to create negative perception around your brand. So why would you do that?
Right. It's a fair question, and I know I don't have the answer. But if you have the answer, you can bomb us in the comments in the chat.
I feel a wrap up happening here.
You know it. But yeah, because I mean, we could endlessly speculate, but we don't know, and we don't know anybody that knows. So it's unfortunately kind of a conversational dead end. But it's
still fun to speculate.
Oh, I agree. And for me, I truly don't know, because I could see both narratives where Fans Toys just thinks that they are the biggest thing on the block and that they don't have to trouble themselves to play this game anymore. Or maybe like Zeta before them, maybe John Hasbro finally caught up to him. I don't want to necessarily derail us too much by getting into,
and there could be other scenarios that are, it could be somewhere in between all that. There's other possibilities.
Absolutely. I 100% agree with you. I was going to say, I don't want to necessarily tangent too much and talk about like that article that was circulating for a while because it was so poorly written, because like it referred to Fans Toys as like a knockoff company. And I think that really that steamed a lot of clams. I know you had some pointed words about that, Aaron, at the time. But yeah, so it's like, I guess I don't know what the state of affairs are now with regards to COVID, with regards to how Hasbro may or may not be involved post the Zeta Unicron thing. It feels like we're in real uncertain territory. What do you think?
Yes and no, except for the fact that toys are still coming out. I mean, they're still hitting the market. All these things are coming from China. I think the game is kind of on, right? I mean, releases maybe slowed down a little bit in that February, March, early April timeframe, but MMC, even Fans Toys kept cranking it out.
True.
Who really knows? I mean, there could be business decisions that were made. Could have said to Ryan, hey, you know what? Just this time around, I think we've got some exciting things cooking, and we want to do some reveals on our own. No offense to you guys. We're gonna put out some releases here soon. Who really knows?
Yeah,
honestly. And like you said, we could speculate forever. And I want to try and put it on that kind of note because it feels a little more positive to say that maybe Fans Toys just they want to reveal it on their own time, and maybe they've got something special that they don't want to quite give a peek under the curtain to yet. Who knows? But, they haven't put. We know what the pipeline should look like theoretically based on the reveals from last year. They've easily, if they were to continue producing the items. I mean, they put out at about every month to 1.5 month cadence. they've easily got a year and a half of projects out there to sustain the world. So who knows, man? They're at the top of the game still, and I'm sure that it's okay. As I will be proven wrong in minutes, and the news release is going to come out about how the CIA, for some reason, raided Fans Toys Factory.
So yeah, if there isn't anything else, that will wrap things up for this particular live stream episode. Thanks everybody that jumped in on the chat, and especially shout out to Melody and Peter Mike. Well, so I don't know if you saw this,
I
but
love
she
you,
jumped
girl.
in,
I don't know if you're still listening.
a little bit there. I sure do like you guys, so that's awesome. It's very sweet. So yeah, shout out to Pizza Toss and Mike. Huge shout out to Shar and Toby as well for the technical assistance, helping us get through some of our, or at least spotting out for us. I also want to give a shout out to Stan Cho, who jumped on YouTube with us for a few, and then Alpha Magnus, Toby, for being on the lookout for us as well. I think that's all the shout outs I've got. So yeah, you can listen to this as part of a very special episode of Autopod Decepticast, or you can come back and watch, I guess, both videos of the live stream. And if you are listening to this on Autopod Decepticast and want to hear more nonsense from me, you can listen to my show, Mike Seibert Radio, on pretty much every platform that you listen to Autopod Decepticast. You can subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Google Play, Spotify, TuneIn. Who uses TuneIn? Or whatever you use to listen to your podcast. And you can check out my full show archive out on SoundCloud. I am indeed a SoundCloud rapper, and you can join me every Monday night, starting around 8 p.m. Pacific, for the Mike Seibert Radio After Hours live stream. That is streaming the same place that you're watching now on Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook Live. And share, rate, and review the show. Let us know what you like and what you'd like to know more of in the future. I am just straight up reading my outro, and I'm realizing that's going to get me to a point where I say stuff like Mike Seibert Radio is powered by Poddex. Use my discount code MSRP10 at checkout to get 10% off your first order. Oh, hey, Aaron, I want to read to you a pod deck real quick, very quickly.
Oh, so okay. All right.
Super quick. All right. So I will give you a choice. You choose either the What the Heck deck or the Would You Rather deck.
What the heck?
What the heck? All right. So what the heck? I'll just pull one from the middle here. Aaron, would you ever consider writing to someone in jail as a pen pal? What the heck?
Yes. If Edward Snowden comes back to this country and gets put in jail, I would like to be his pen pal.
I love it. Would you ever pick up a hitchhiker?
I have picked up hitchhikers in my youth. I probably would not do it in my old.
And last one. Have you ever accidentally texted the wrong person, and how did it turn out? ?
Oh yeah, I've accidentally tested some lewd shit to the wrong person, and it worked out fine. You just laugh it off. Mike, you didn't answer these questions.
I was. Do you want me to answer them?
Yeah, go hit it.
No, and no.
Okay, all right.
I mean,
that was easy.
Yeah. So anyway, so that will do it for us. Thank you so much for watching. I will be a guest on this week's transmissions. We're actually recording in a few short hours here on Sunday night. So look for that. It's episode 405. We're going to be doing more TFCon online recapping, including going over all of this same material all over again. So
you'll be primed for it. You'll have all
exactly.
You're ready. You're ready. Yeah, and I guess I'll do my quick outro. Autopoddecepticast.com, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, tuned in. And this week's episode, of course, has our friend Mike Seibert of Mike Seibert Radio. And make good choices.
Sucker. This was a good episode. Bye.
Bye.
And wear a fucking mask, and don't forget to vote.
I already voted.
Me too. All right. Goodbye, Internet.